Hey, third grade, happy Monday. I hope you're ready to work this morning because we are going to do our week 6, day 1 packet together. Make sure you have that out and we'll get started. Okay, fluency. The table shows the number of students in each class. Use the table to color the bar graph. The first one has been done for you. So over here we see number of students in each class. So in baking class, there are 9 students. In sports class, there are 16 students. In chorus class, 13 students, and drama, 18 students. Okay, so over here, we see baking, sports, chorus, and drama across the bottom. Those are the classes. And then up here along this side are the number of students. And the first one's done for us. So baking over here, they told us there were 9 students. So here you might notice these numbers up the side are skip counting by 2s. So all the odd numbers are not there. We know 9 is odd. We know it's between 8 and 10. So halfway between 8 and 10 would be 9, right? And so they show the bar graph representing baking up to 9 because that's how many students are in baking. So for the next class is sports. There are 16. So we need it in this column all the way up to 16. So I'm going to use a little like rectangle drawer because we know I have a hard time on these computer markers, but like that. And it's going to go exactly to the 16 because that's how many people are in that class. And you can shade that in if you would like. You have like colored pencils or crayons at home, that can be fun. You can make it cute and pretty. All right, chorus class is here. There are 13 students. 13 is odd, so it's not going to show up on our numbers, but 13 is between what two even numbers? Hopefully you said 12 and 14, right? So I'm going to make sure I'm right here in the right column, and I'm going to go up to halfway between like that. And that shows 13 students. The last class is drama, and there are 18 students. That goes all the way up to right here. So make sure I'm in the right spot, the right column, and that I end at the 18, and it looks like that. And like I said, you can shade those in to make it fun. I'm gonna make mine purple so I can shade my little graphs in like that, okay? Now we have some new learning. Like I said last week, this is somewhat new, but also somewhat a review of what we were doing when we were last together in school. I know it's been a long time since we've been in school, so this might feel new because you might have forgotten it, and that's okay because we're going to go over it together. This says to draw a number bond for each fractional unit. Partition the fraction strip to show the unit fractions of the number bond. Use the fraction strip to help you label the fractions on the number line. Be sure to label the fraction at 0 and 1. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is this fractional unit right here, okay? The fractional unit is any fraction with a numerator of 1. So we're talking here about thirds, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Those are your fractional units. Those are each piece that together make the whole, okay? It's already done for you here. We see 1 whole. If these are thirds, there are 3 thirds, right? So we have 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. 3/3 makes the whole. Over here, there's a number line and they're calling it a fraction strip. Remember we used the paper and we folded them together? Envision that, but it's just flat on your paper. So this fraction strip is like the exact same length. So here at 0, right, before we even begin, 0. So that would be 0/3. We know the end, the whole would be 3/3. And then if there are 3 parts, we know there's 2 lines in the middle. So 1, 2 are your 2 lines, and that represents 1/3 and 2/3. You can see how that lines up. This space on the number line is the exact same length and value as this 1/3 fraction strip here. From here to here is 2/3, just like this. From here to here is the whole, or 3/3, in both the number line and the fraction strip, okay? Let's go ahead and look at number one that we're going to do together, okay? And you can always look back to that sample we were just looking at in your packet because it will kind of help you. We just have different fractions that we're working on in each one, but it's the exact same setup for everything. So here we're looking at halves. Draw a number bond for each fractional unit. Partition the fraction strip to show the unit fractions of the number bond. Use the fraction strips to help you label the fraction on the number line. Be sure to label the fractions at 0 and 1. Okay, so we have our 1 whole here. We have 1/2 and 1/2. We know there are 2 halves and 1 whole. So we're going to start here on our fraction strip. Two parts, 2 halves. We just need 1 line exactly in the middle. So this about halfway. I'm going to draw my line here. And then because it's there, I know I'm going to do the same thing here. So this is 1/2. And here's 0. So 0, the equivalent would be 0 halves. Now, if this piece is 1/2, then the value at this halfway mark here is 1/2. And this is a 2nd half here. So when I put these two together, the length here all the way is equal to the length here, 1 whole, or 2 halves, 2/2. So we write that just like that. We split 1 whole into halves. There are 2 equal parts, each is 1/2. And then we've done the same over here as well. Okay. Our problem set. So again, the same setup. We're just using different units. We have thirds, fourths, and eighths. If you feel ready to do this by yourself, you can pause this video. You can complete this whole part and then play the video and check your work. If you want to do it with me, that's fine too. It's up to you, okay? So first unit is thirds, 3/3 and 1 whole. That means I need to decompose my whole into 3 parts, and that's going to be hard to do because I made that circle really small and I just have to write in it. So thirds, each of these is going to be 1/3. You'd think I'd be getting better at using these computer markers, but I really haven't, have I? That's not going to fit in the circle. I'm going to put it next to it, 1/3. Hopefully you can kind of tell what I'm trying to write here because I'm not doing a very good job of making it look very neat. All right, thirds, we split them into 3 parts. So in order to split or decompose this fraction strip into 3 parts, I need how many lines? 2 lines. So about here and here. 2 lines gives me 1, 2, 3 equal parts. I'm going to label each of these as 1/3, just like I did in the number bond. 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Okay. Now where these lines are, I know it's going to correlate to what I'm doing on the number line. So I'm going to start first with labeling 0/3, and then I'm going to use this to draw my line for 1/3. And I'm going to use this to draw my line to partition for 2/3. And then at the end, that is a 3, is 1 whole. How many thirds are equivalent to 1 whole? 3/3. Just like that. Okay. All right, same thing for fourths. 4 equal parts give us fourths. I'm not even going to try to write them in here. I'm just going to show you because you know it's going to be too messy, especially because these have to be smaller circles. But in each of those 4 circles, you should be writing 1/4 in here, in here, in here, and in here. Okay? All right, 4 equal parts for fourths. In order to partition this into 4 equal parts, I need to draw 3 lines. I know one's going to go right in the middle, and then one is going to go each side like that. All right? And label each of these 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. And then down here, same thing, fourths, fourths, like that. This is 0/4. This is 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. How many fourths are equivalent to 1 whole? 4/4. Okay. And let me do that so we can see the eighths. The eighths I'm not going to be able to do with this marker because it's going to be too small, but it's going to get really sloppy. We know we need to draw 8 parts, right? We're decomposing into eighths, so 8 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And at the end of each of these for your number bond, 1/8, because that's your fractional unit, okay? 8 parts, 7 lines. It's always one less line than part. So 8 parts, 7 lines. I'm going to start in the center. Here's 1. Now on each side, because I need 7, on each side there are going to be 3 and 3. 3, 6, and then that middle one, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on this half. Good, because I need 8 altogether. So half is 4. And there we go. Each of those should be labeled. Each part here, 1/8. Then use your numbers to create the lines representing each fraction on the number line. And then you'll label them all the way from 0/8, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. 1 whole is equivalent to 8/8. Kind of hard to see there. Okay. We have a word problem. Do this here. Okay. Trevor needs to let his puppy outside every quarter or 1/4 hour to potty train him. Draw and label a number line from 0 to 1 hour to show every 1/4 hour. Include 0/4 and 4/4 hours. Label 0/4 and 1/4 hours too. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is draw and label a number line. So, see if I can get a number line. I can move this maybe here. Okay. Here's my number line. And we know at the end of our number line, we always draw what? 2 arrows because our number line goes on forever in both directions, right? Okay, endpoints. They tell us that our number line has to go from 0 to 1 hours. So 0 to 1. And we can just abbreviate hours with HR. That stands for hours. So we can do this, 0 hours and 1 hour. Now, what is the fractional unit that we need to partition our number line into? Up here, quarters or fourths. You will hear people say quarters and they're talking about fourths. The way I like to remember that is that there are 4 quarters in $1. So 1/4 is the same as it's equal to 1/4. It's just another name that people like to use. Okay, so if I'm doing 4 equal parts, how many lines? 3 lines. So I'm going to put 1 right in the middle and then 1 on each side like this. And then we're going to label, okay? We're going to start with the endpoint of 0. So we have to say how many fourths is equal to 0. 0/4, right? So I'm going to go right below so that I know that everything in line there is the same. There's more than one way we can label that endpoint. It can be 0 hours. It can always be 0/4 as well. The next one is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, or 1 whole hour. So that means he's taking his puppy out how many times every hour? 4 times an hour, that's a lot. So draw and label, we've done that, and include the endpoints. Great, they're not yet asking us how many minutes, how often that is. But if you wanted to try to figure that out, you can pause the video and then I'll tell you. If the whole hour is 60 minutes, half of that would be 30, and half of 30 would be 15. So Trevor is bringing his puppy out every 15 minutes to potty train him. That's a lot of work. Okay. This is our last problem. We've got a word problem with a part A and a part B. So let's take a look. Miss Metcalf wants to share $1 equally among 5 students, okay? Draw a number bond and a number line to help you explain your answer. So before I even look down here, I'm gonna go ahead and start with that number bond. Here's my $1, or my 1 whole, right? 5 students. So that means how many parts will my number bond have? 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw little lines here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So if there are 5 parts, that means we're going to label each fractional unit as 1/5. Okay. So I can't do it inside because again, I'm just making these circles too small and the marker right's too big, but each of these should be labeled as 1/5, okay? Now, I also want us to draw a number line. So, number line here. We'll, of course, do our arrows at the end and our endpoints. This is going to be 1 whole, right? I'm decomposing 1 whole dollar. If that is 1 whole, this is 0. Now, 5 equal parts, this needs to be partitioned into. That means how many lines to make equal parts? 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then label 0/5, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 1 whole is equal to 5/5. Okay. What fraction of a dollar will each student get? So it's going to be less than $1 because 1 whole dollar is being shared 5 ways. Now there's a couple different ways we can figure that out. This is division. We're dividing 1 whole dollar into 5 parts. It seems like we can't do that because 1 is a small number and 5 is bigger. But let's think about the equivalent to $1 when we're talking about cents, because we're going to be giving each student some cents, right? There's not enough for everyone to get $1, but we know there's how many cents in $1? 100, right? Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm working on B in my mind, but really we should be working on A first. Pause, hold that thought. What fraction of $1 will each student get? What's each student getting? 1/5, right? I jumped ahead because we already talked about that. I just forgot to write it down. Okay, sorry. B, how much money will each student get? We were talking before that there are how many cents in $1? 100 cents, right? Or 100 pennies would make $1. Each penny is 1 cent. So we have 100 cents. I'm going to put a little C after this is like a cent symbol. And we're dividing this 100 cents by how many students? 5 students, and then our quotient here, answer, will tell us how many cents each student gets. We know the easiest way to divide when we're not sure of a quotient is to skip count by this smaller number to get to this bigger number. So I want you to skip count by 5 all the way to 20. All the way to 100. Skip all the way by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way to 100. How many times does that take you? It takes you 20 times. I accidentally said the answer there, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys are already working ahead of me anyway. All right. Each student gets 20 cents. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So when we skip count by 25 times, we get 100. And we skip count by 5, 20 times, we get 100. Because 5 times 20. Oh my goodness, these markers. 5 times 20 equals 100. 100 cents is equal to $1. Oh my goodness, I'm having a really hard time with these markers today. All right, hopefully you guys did a little bit neater work than I did today. This was pretty sloppy for me, and I'm sorry. It's hard to write with these markers, like I said, but I'm sure you guys are doing great. You know how to do most of this already. So maybe you paused me and just did it on your own anyway, and then checked your work, which hopefully we're getting a little more comfortable doing to work independently so that you can complete this without so much of my help, but I'll still obviously be making these videos for you. I hope you guys are working super hard at home. I hope you are staying healthy still. I miss you guys so much, and I hope we can see each other sometime kind of soon. But until then, we'll be doing these videos and hanging out on Microsoft Teams, and I'll see you later this week. All right.